Hi, I don't know. Can you see me? Can you see me?
Yes,
Okay.
hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for going on the call with me today.
Yeah, thank you for mentoring me.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm in the track one ISU program, so I'm in the combined masters and internship program, and we have a seminar class this year, and one of the assignments we have is to mentor one of the undergrads. So I was assigned you. So again, thanks again. I also with being really fast with sending me your materials. You were well prepared for this. Did your undergrad professors warn you about this assignment for us for grad school, or did they?
No.
No. Okay.
I got an email from Dr. Schumacher that
Okay.
I will be assigned to someone, and we got the list, but it was like 2 weeks ago.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ours was really sudden too. I found out last week on Sunday, and that's when I think I emailed you a couple days later. But it was sudden. She's like, so like let's get started. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm glad that you were really great with helping me out. So I reviewed your materials, your resume, and your personal statement, and it was really good. I honestly didn't have too much to change or to suggest. Um, but we can start with the resume if you'd like. With the resume, again, looked really good. It was structured really well. I always look for the dates, like the order of how people have dates, and you had that all correct. So I always look at that stuff, and just like past tense on your resume when when you're no longer there. So that was great. I just have some suggestions, things that you don't have to use, just things that I've learned or have been told to me when I was an undergrad, talking to the other preceptors and talking to other RDs and people, faculty members, would be your objective on your resume. And they say it's not always needed. Like they say when you already give them the resume, they kind of already know what your objective is. But you can
Mhm.
still have it on there. If you do have it on there, I suggest like rewording it in a way, like not having the word me in it. Maybe something like to obtain internship position that provides opportunities to enhance my skills or my communication and leadership skills. Just or not enhance just to say to enhance communication, so just take away like the personal noun like my or me or anything like that,
Yes.
if you choose to keep it,
Hmm.
just to make it more formal, I guess, in a way. But that's kind of what I was told, to take out all those me's and my's if we do have an objective.
Okay.
um, Other thing would be all the way in the bottom with your skills and personality. um, With personality, it's hard to say too, because I've had been told by preceptors that with personalities, they would like to see that, because anyone can say that they're not saying you're not any of the things that you said, but they would rather see it than have it on the resume, and that's more for things that you can prove, like, oh, like your skill in ethic. Or if are you Surf Save certified? Did you get that at ISU? No. I was just wondering, that's something else you can put under there, or any other certifications if you're CPR certified or anything out there that you're certified in, looks
Hmm.
good on there. I suggest changing it to skills and certifications, and then make it bullet points. So you can say, instead of familiar with Epic, say proficient in Epic software. Saying proficient, I think, looks better than saying familiar, because
Hmm.
you want to show them that you're confident in your abilities with navigating Epic.
Okay.
That's what I did. I think I used the word proficient. I think those adjectives, descriptive words, look really good on a resume. So all the ones you use, like analyze and all that, look really good. I think we can also add that to your last part in the skills and make that maybe bullet points instead of a long sentence.
Hmm.
But other than that, honestly, your resume was really good. It was really great, and you had a really well-rounded experience. So that's a really great thing to bring to the table when you go to do your internship. So that's exciting.
Thank you.
And then I think with sorry, do you have any questions about the resume?
No, not really. I don't know if you realize that there was one organization, the Gen H Kids, where I
Mm-hmm.
worked, and
Yes.
I also volunteered. So
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to put that separately. And
I think so. I think that you can do that, because I have an example where in my job that I have now, I was actually an intern first, and I kept them two separate things.
okay.
One was internship, and the one was my actual position. So I think it's okay if one was for volunteering and then became, your job. I think that actually looks good, because then a preceptor saw that you were dedicated as a volunteer, and they noticed your hardworking and your skills, and that you were able to make it into a job. So I think that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good question. And then I think with your personal statement, again, I really liked it. I really liked how you kind of talked about your background and, your interests. I think that shows that you're really well-rounded. You've had various experiences. Not too much of a grammar or anything like that. That's always I look for, is like grammar or anything for personal statements, because they look at that. There wasn't much. I think I only have 2 things that I may suggest. It would be in your first paragraph when you said not until 2014. I don't remember your whole sentence, but it was a kind of a runoff sentence. You said, it wasn't until then I realized this, and I chose profession and dedication, or I was dedicated. I felt like that was a run-on sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can change it and maybe get more to the point so they can understand it, and saying maybe something like, it was not until I moved to the United States 2014 when I discovered my passion for the field of nutrition dietetics. I think that's right. I mean, I think it's basically I want to keep what you're trying to say. And I think that's what you're trying to say. I just think it was kind of just like a more of a run-on sentence, which is I do that all the time. So I always go back and see what I have, and then I try to reword in a way that's to the point. So I think that sounds good, saying something like, I discovered my passion for the field of nutrition dietetics, when I moved here, versus that longer run-on sentence. But these are all just suggestions that you could use. Also, in the first paragraph, you said something like huge discrepancies. I like the word discrepancies. I think that's a really good word. But I always try to stay away from other adjectives, like it's very good, or it's really cold. You just want to say it's cold or it's good. So instead of saying huge discrepancies, maybe just saying discrepancies in nutrition.
Okay.
We want to kind of keep it, again, just more clean. But that was all what I was told when I was going through DICAS and going through it. It was just taking away those extra words that don't, extra descriptive words that aren't necessarily needed. And then the last thing I have, I think it's still in the first paragraph, was when you're saying you're being raised by agricultural family, which I think is really cool. I like that beginning part, but then maybe after that with the comma, you can say something like, rewording that last sentence, saying fresh foods was a primary component to my diet. Instead of saying I forgot what you said exactly, but I think it was it could have been worded a little better. So I think that saying, being raised by this family, fresh food was a primary component to my diet. Keep it short. Other than that, though, I think your personal statement was really well structured. I think it was well organized, easy to follow, and I really liked your closer. I always look at closings, and I thought that was professionally done. So that's awesome. Are you interested in you said you're interested in the distance program, correct? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the distance track very well, because it started this past year. And so at that point I was already I'm in my second year of my master's program. I went to ISU in undergrad, so I know Julie, I know everyone. I've been here for so long. But the distance track is something that I'm not really familiar with. Do you mind telling me when, you don't use DICAS for it, right?
You use DICAS.
You do use DICAS, okay. So then you'll find out, are you applying for the spring? Okay, well, that's exciting. So the due date is what, February 15th? 15th, yeah, I remember it's always the day after Valentine's Day. Okay, well, have you done your DICAS yet, or have you filled it out or starting to fill it out?
I started to fill out my contact information and the first few things.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it over, so I'm kind of familiar with it.
Yeah. I remember, I don't think I started mine until like around this time too. And you just gotta take your time. I feel like trying to do it all at once can be exhausting, but also I think you also can miss things like that too. So doing a little bit each day, I think, is the best way to do it. But everyone does their own pace. I've heard stories of people doing it the day before and doing just fine. I don't know how I did it that way. Yeah, but I don't recommend that. I think I definitely started mine around like Thanksgiving time or December, beginning of December, and then worked my way slowly. And I had people check my resume and personal statement, made sure all everything was correct. Wording is big. Are you only applying to ISU?
No, I'm planning to apply for at least two more distance programs, but ISU is my first choice.
First choice.
Yeah.
Okay. So with your personal or with the places that you're applying to, have you looked at their personal statement requirements or like what their prompt questions are?
Well, I looked at it like in the summer.
Okay.
Give you.
No. I was just curious because I know with mine, I think I applied to 3 places for my internships or for diecast, and each one, I think 2 of them had the same prompt, so I was able to kind of keep it similar. But you still want to tailor it to them a little bit. So like I know like I talked a little bit about like for ISU, I talked about the fact that theirs was a leadership and project management thing, so I tailored it kind of towards that. And at the end, I say, Illinois State's where I want to be, which is what you said in yours. But when you apply to the other 2, be sure to change that name because there's stories of people who don't change that name and then they don't even look at them because of that. So change the name, and then whatever their emphasis is, like if one is in clinical nutrition, talk about your interest in that, or if yours is in leadership or project management, like ISU's is, talk about that. Talk about what they have to offer, and that's how you want that or how that will benefit you and your career goals. So don't forget that. I've heard stories of people forgetting to change the names because some schools do have the same prompts, and then you just add it into all your things. So make sure I think that's the biggest thing. Trying to think of what else I really have. With distance, so would you be in Springfield then? Would you?
So now I live in Springfield, but we are going to move to St. Louis.
Oh, okay. That's exciting. Oh, because your husband. I do remember that. Yeah, so that is exciting. My sister actually lives there now. She plays basketball at St. Louis University. She's a freshman, but she really likes it, St. Louis. She does. We're from Chicago, or I'm from Chicago. So that's where we grew up in the city, and then so going to St. Louis, she really likes it there. Well, that's exciting. I know, have you considered applying to the St. Louis dietetic internship over there?
No, because price is a big issue for me. So I can't apply for anything that gives masters or...
I do understand that. It is very pricey. And you definitely don't need to go into that debt with, I'm not saying RDs can't make a lot of money, they can. But unfortunately, the time that we're in, or we're not appreciative, I think, yet as much as we should be price-wise. So I do agree with that. I know, like, I applied to Loyola University, which is back home in Chicago, and I think their tuition was like $60,000 a year. And hi.
That's my daughter.
I know, I saw a little head. But it was $60,000 and you couldn't work for those 2 years. And I'm like, where am I going to get that money? Yeah. I do agree with that.
And I also have a master's already.
Yes.
Not nutrition, but at least I have it. So.
Right. What's your master's in again? I'm sorry.
Communication and mass media.
Okay.
Which actually I can use.
Yes.
I can use it together.
You absolutely can.
And I really see the benefits of it. So.
I absolutely agree with that. I think that's the beauty of nutrition is that there's so many opportunities in nutrition, and I think more than just the common jobs that RDs have. Like I'm in my internship right now, and I had I had a school experience, I've had hospital experiences, I've had community experiences, and those are kind of the 3 primary fields that RDs go into. But there's just so much more out there for RDs. I'm currently working at a company, and it's corporate nutrition in a way, but I do a lot of marketing, but also wellness. I never thought marketing would have been, what an RD would do or something like that. But my boss is an RD, and she does amazing things. And so I think, marketing, or like we said, mass media and communications could definitely be, with nutrition, it could be very helpful in jobs that you can find out there. So I think that's great. So therefore, you don't really need a master's in anything else right now. Interesting enough, in 2024, I think you've heard that we have to get our master's, but you don't have to get a master's in dietetics, though. You can get a master's in anything.
Yeah.
So you're kind of set. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
What are the other schools that you want to, or programs you want to apply to other than?
The ones that I looked at was the Sodexo program.
Yeah.
And the other one I heard was the Iowa State University's distance program.
Distance program, yeah. I know a couple people done that and they really liked it. Distance I think, is a really great opportunity because you can tailor it to what you want. Like if you know you want to do sports nutrition, you can look for sites that are more sports nutrition towards. The only downfall, though, it can be hard to find sites based on what I've heard from fellow classmates who've done distance. But it's still beautiful in its own way where you can tailor it to what you really want to do. So I think that's great. I was gonna say, because you can also apply to the track I'm in now, but you said you already have your master's. So, although I will say the master's at ISU, the first year is pretty much free, and you get paid, I think it's $400 a month because you're a GA, and your first year is free. Yes, you do have to pay for the second year though, so that's what I'm doing now. But it's $7,000, so it's pretty cheap compared to other masters. But thought too. But distance is great. I've had a lot of people go distance and they really like it.
Yeah, but for the masters, you have to be in Bloomington, right?
Yeah, for the classes, I didn't think about that. You're right. Yeah, for the classes, it would be distance. Or no, sorry, the class. The class was only twice a week, but that's too far for St. Louis. So yeah, it is. No, I agree with that. So the distance would be good. And I've heard good things about the distance. And I think in my seminar class now, it's like all the tracks are in my class right now for seminars. So I think distance is included and they all say really good things about their experiences in it. But I think, again, it's because you can make it your own. So then do you find out the same time as everyone else does in April if you got matched at distance? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. I know it could also be a little nerve-wracking too. I remember how nervous I was when I was, an undergrad and when I applied and just waiting for that moment. It's a little nerve-wracking, but everything happens for a reason. And honestly, looking at your background, I think you're pretty well off. I think you're good. I think. So. What's that?
I hope so because I really want to get into the ISU's program.
Yeah, and I think with distance too. I mean, I know with the master's program that I'm in, they want to accept more ISU students, but because there's only 10 spots, they only accept like 2 or 3 from ISU. So, I went to ISU, so I was really nervous applying to ISU and being one of the 2 or 3 that got in. But with the distance, I think they can accept a lot of people. So I think that's why they created the program, so they can have more ISU students be part of their program. So I have a good feeling. And then you have well-rounded experiences. Your GPA is good. I mean, I think everything other than those little changes that I suggested that aren't even huge, I think you're well. And especially since, Julie, the people. Do you know Julie pretty well, or do you talk to her at all? Oh, I think you're frozen. Hi, must have a bad connection. Ooh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear.
Okay.
Something happened with my connection, and so now I'm with my phone.
Okay. I was gonna say, I think something had the connection, but we're okay. I just stayed on, and I emailed you, so ignore that. But forgot what I was talking about. But thanks for coming back on. I'm trying to think. For ISU's program, do they have a phone interview or anything like that? I remember for our program they had a phone interview. No?
So I don't know because I looked at the website and it doesn't say anything about it. So
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe distance is different because distance, that they do accept a huge amount of people. Maybe they don't have time to call everyone. But I know in my program they had like a phone interview for ISU. But she also knows you, or Julie does, and I think Julie doesn't call people that are actually through ISU because they already can get an idea of who you are and they talk to professors. So I don't think you have to worry about that. But do you know of Iowa or what was the other one? I forgot already. Oh, the Sodexo.
Yeah.
Do they have any like interviews or anything like that?
I don't know. I have to look it up.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was just wondering. I had to go to 2 interviews for mine, and I mean they went well. Just be prepared. I would say bring your resume just to have it all ready to go, and like maybe like a nice resume folder you can get at like Office Depot or Target or whatever. And just I mean I've had experiences where or people always tell me that they're going to ask all these questions like to calculate stuff or anything like that. I never had that in my interviews. It was very laid back. Yeah, they're like, I've heard stories of people saying that they had them calculate enteral nutrition. They gave them like a scenario and had them calculate something. So that was nerve wracking. I remember I studied like a range of questions that I found online that interviewers could ask, but it wasn't like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least mine weren't. They said they're not trying to test you on that. They can already tell that you're knowledgeable stuff based on like your transcripts and your resume and all that. And they asked just more questions about, they give you scenarios on like saying like, give me a time when you experience a conflict, how'd you handle it? And just kind of telling about yourself, being personable. I think that was what really helped, was just being personable.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, every place requires interviews, but I'm just thinking of like all the processes that could potentially happen. So like interviews could happen, phone interviews. I know those are a little bit harder, I feel like, because you can't, I think body language is a huge thing, or just over the phone, I feel like it's hard to, I think, win them over. I get that win them over, but just to show them, who you truly are, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have any other questions other than anything like that? Anything else with the process or literally anything?
I wanted to ask, going back to my personal statement.
Yep.
They say that it shouldn't be boring. It has to stand out.
Yes.
So do you think mine stands out?
Yes, yes, I do. I think with your background already, coming from a different country and you have such a various amount of experience, I think that will definitely make you stand out. And, there's a lot of people I know in undergrad that, maybe might have only had a few experiences or only through ISU with their experiences, but you've had a variety of experiences. And I think that makes you very well-rounded, and I think that's what they look for in an applicant. So I think it stands out right away. When I read your first sentence, I was already caught. I was like, wait, where'd she come from? She lived in this family. She came from this family. I think that was good. Although, no, you did say it. Never mind. I was wondering, like, I know you said like when you moved to USA, that was when you discovered your nutrition passion. But was there a significant or like a certain moment that made you realize that, other than like?
Well, there was, and I'm thinking to rewrite the beginning of my personal statement because the whole truth is that my husband is a medical doctor,
right?
And after we moved because of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And after we moved, I was like, I don't know what to do here. My English wasn't good. I couldn't work with, anything related to communication because I couldn't communicate.
Sure, right. Mm-hmm.
So he said, I said that maybe I should go back to school. And he said, you are asking me a lot of questions about nutrition and, because of his health background.
Mm-hmm.
And why don't you go to dietetics?
Yeah.
And that was the moment because he really inspired me. So he was the person who inspired by his, his attitude and how he really fought for being in the US and being a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, it's also healthcare. And it was a very good, I don't know, experience for me to see his career improving.
Yeah. And so I think that's great. And I think that can be integrated into your personal statement. Talk about maybe how he inspired you and you know, you want to take the opportunity of being in the US and going back to school and learning more, because you've always asked him, and you realize maybe by asking him all those questions, you realize what your true passion was. And, you know, he's a good support system. I think that could definitely be in there, and that can, you know, make it more personable. I still also think keeping the background of, you know, coming from where you came from, and then also like your family, I think even that shows a lot too, like saying how you primarily eat fresh food, or when you were over there, and how it's very different here. And I think that could be something you can talk about too, how you maybe you want to strive to educate others in the benefits of that fresh food, and kind of integrating that kind of culture into our culture, because you have that background. And then again with your husband, and you know, maybe him inspiring you, I think that's great. I think like what my personal statement, I think I talked about, for me what got me into it was sports, although I don't want to go into sports nutrition at all, but sport is kind of what got me into nutrition, and the love of passion for the science for it, and that's what kind of got me into it. So, and that when I did say that in my personal statement, I think kind of talking about, you know, what made that spark come up, I think it would be good. And I just think that one's very unique. You know, coming from another country with your husband and all that, you're right, with him being a doctor, and you realizing asking those questions, like, wow, maybe, you know, I want to ask myself these questions, and, you know, and you want to find the answers to those questions kind of thing. So I think that's fine. And you can edit it, and if you want, you could even send it to me even after this, like, this is done. I enjoyed doing that. I helped others last year too with their personal statements and stuff. So, because I was a GA last year and all that. So I think that I'm definitely happy to help with that too.
Thank you. That would be great.
yeah, absolutely happy to help. But I think that would be good. That definitely can be integrated in. And I think that would make it more personal and make it more stick out, I think. But not, and it already does stand out, I think. But I think that could help too. Yeah. And then just make sure not to make it too long. I don't remember what the word count was. There definitely was like a limit on words. I didn't check yours. I didn't know how many words.
I know that I'm in the limit. I think it was 100 words or 1,000 words. I don't know.
I don't remember. I really don't. It was 2 years ago for me. And I think yours was a fine length. Although, well, the only thing I do say is that you had like your name and your date, and like I think you had your address on your personal statement too. Yeah, I know. Like when I applied to one of my locations at OSF in Peoria, they required a business letter, so I had to have all that on there, like as if you were addressing it to someone. But the other personal statements I had didn't have like my address and all that on there. First of all, to save space and for your word count. So I maybe consider taking that out. I never included mine in mine because they already know your address and all that stuff. Unless they say they want a business letter, then like if they want it in a business letter format, like OSF did for me, then you keep that on there. But I would take that off. That was something else I wanted to mention. But it's only, again, it's what the school wants from you. I know at OSF they do that, I think, more so to see if you pay attention. Because they told me that, or told us that if you didn't have a business letter format, they won't even look at you, even if you were eligible. And so some schools get you like, you know, try to be sneaky like that. But if they don't say that, then you can just have it in a regular paragraph form. And yeah, I think that would not only give you more space, but also more words if you are tight on words. I don't know what the limit is, but I recommend looking at it because they do take that kind of seriously, because they do have to read so many personal statements. So if it is in the longer end, which I don't think yours is, but I think I don't remember what the word count was. But I remember mine was like a page, but it also was, I didn't have any of that stuff on top like you did. So I had a little bit more room. So look into that, I think, was the word count, because I do take that kind of seriously. But other than that, I think that's good. And then if you want to add in your husband in there and maybe take out some things to make it shorter, if it is too long, I can help with that too. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So what else makes it to be a business letter format? Just the address?
It's something where you basically put in like as if you were going to send a letter, like saying dear, like you start with saying like to whoever, like dear, like you're sending a letter, and then you would even sign at the end saying sincerely whoever, and then the top part I believe you have it at like you include your address and I believe their address too. There's an example online. I have to, again, it's been so long, but it was significantly different than just the other ones. It had the addresses. It had the, I had it directed to someone like dear whoever, and at the end I signed it. But sign it like just signed it as in like just typing it like sincerely, Cecily Martinez for me. So that was different. That was the only place that required that for where I applied. It's not as common as just the regular paragraph kind of or paragraph format thing. So, but they would say that in their criteria or their requirements for that internship when applying. Yeah. So they was on their website, so don't worry about it if they don't say that. That's just was just an extra thing I had to do. I remember that one too because their prompt was completely different too. It was like actually kind of hard, and it was longer. So I remember that one. But my other two luckily were the same prompts, so that saved me a lot of time. So hopefully your prompts are similar too when you apply, but I think a lot of them do keep the same prompts.
Okay, so I went to the career center to show them my personal statement, and they said that I could, after I print it out, I could sign it to show that I really care.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. I never did that, but with the personal statements, would you just scan it back into the computer since you guys turned it online?
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that. I didn't. I never heard anyone of doing that. I know it also is different, I think, with different, like with the Career Center, they're great. They are a very great tool to utilize, but I think dietetics is also its own species in a way. I remember my resume too, like I did based on what the Career Center said, and I went to dietetics, and they're like, no, like dietetics kind of have its own criterias and requirements. So my resume was completely torn apart by them after what the Career Center looked at it, and then we have to kind of make it in a way that fits for our field. So, and I know that too because even like my boyfriend, he's in like a criminal justice business thing. So when he goes to career things and he comes back to me and shows me things he does, I'm like, well, that's so weird. Like dietetics doesn't have us do it that way, or we have it doing it this way. Like I know with us, I was drilled in my head that our resume couldn't be more than one page. But when he in his major, they're like, no, it has to be 2 pages.
Yeah.
So every major or every field I think is different. And so with ours specifically, I think we don't need to sign it.
Okay.
But I don't think it would hurt. It's an extra step because you got to go sign it and then you got to scan it back in. But I didn't know anyone that ever signed it. But nothing you can't. But I never heard of anyone doing it that way for our major. I'm sure maybe it is helpful for other majors, or if they're handing that in, like if they're going to interview and handing in their personal statement and then they sign it, like I get it that way because it's a hand, formed paper, sent it in versus an online submission. But that's a good question. I don't think it would hurt, but I never had people do it, or know anyone that did it.
Okay, I have one more question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I received scholarships from the ISU, from FCS, twice. And should I include it in my resume?
Yes, I did have that noted. I wanted to ask if you had any awards or anything. Yes, definitely should. So actually, I'm trying to think of how it's written. Yes, I would include that in there. I think that's really important. So maybe like in case you don't have enough room for that, you can, I know for me, I had a hard time keeping room or making room for stuff too. So I did have to delete things that weren't as pertinent. Like I volunteered a lot when I was an undergrad at ISU, like Fresh Faves or at Sports Nutrition or whatever else I did. I was in the FND club. So all these things. Are you in the FND club too?
No.
I was wondering if there's something else you would want to add on there. But yes, what award did you win? Did you win like a Dean's List kind of award, or did you win like a academic award?
I think I have a little space for awards because I got scholarships from the academy too. So I can list those under those. But
Yeah.
so the reason I'm asking, because I heard that if you're applying to other places, so not to ISU, then they don't know what was the qualification for a scholarship, so they don't know anything about it.
Right. Yes and no. Yes, but at the like I know in mine, like I won a couple awards too in undergrad and some dean's lists and all that, and I would write the award and then parentheses say an academic award. Which you're right, they wouldn't know the criteria for that, but the fact that you won that, I think, is still should be acknowledged, and I still think that looks good. I was always encouraged to put it on there, so I did. So I guess if you did get rid of your objective, which I don't think is as needed, that would make more room too for your. You can make it. You can make an awards and section, and have those down. Have the dates that you like. Maybe like spring semester 2000, whatever 18. I'm just giving you dates, but like say the semester and the year that you got it. Like, so instead of saying like the month, say like the semester that you got it. I know that's what I did. Like I did this semester, and then like, or if you won, like if you had multiple dean's lists, for example, I would just say dean's list. How did I have it? Oh, I wrote like the years. Like I think I wrote like spring 2017, fall 2018. Like it was long, but I put in parentheses and the fall on the other side by the dates. Not in parentheses, but just but I had it in one line versus like, let's say I earned 2 dean's lists. I'm not going to have 2 different rows for that. I'm going to keep 1 row dean's list. So same with academic awards. I know some people won like the same award 2 years in a row. They just had it set there and then had this 2 semesters on the other side by like all your dates.
Yeah.
But I do think it looks good. I definitely think you should put it on there. And then when you fill out diecast, you do also, there's a section for awards too. And so definitely put that on there. And then I think in diecast is when you can write in, like, I think you can put the award and you can make like a little summary of it. And I think that's where you can put like what the criteria was, like, oh, I earned, a 3.94 GPA, whatever it was that got you that award, I would say it in there. So I think that would be great, and that would look really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think again, if you're worried about rooms or room in your resume, I think the objective thing could be taken out, or the again, like the descriptive words of your personality, I think could be taken out, and that could be more room. And then I know this is hard too. If you do need more room again, like I had like some positions too, and I remember I had a hard time fitting everything into one page. So I kept, each, you have your position, whatever it was that you had, and you have like your bullet points underneath it. I had to take it down to three each. And I know a lot of people say to do 3 each per, like 3 bullet points under each position, because it can get kind of wordy. So again, so if you do need more room, that's something to consider too, is I think yours had 4 bullet points, something like that. I think the 3 could be more to the point. And just, again, if you need more room, not saying you shouldn't have 4, you definitely can. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that if they need room to fill, like if they don't have enough room, or they have too much room, then they do the more bullet points. But 3, I think, is what's recommended. Just keep it, to the point. Tell them what you really do, and then it also gives you more room for your award.
Okay.
So,
I just felt that all of them were important.
I know. Trust me. I know. I had a really hard time taking things out, but I also think then the other bullet, you're not saying to take it out, but maybe you can add it to the other bullet point and condense it to 3, and you're gonna have to reword it a little bit, but just, again, they want it to the point. And I did look back to my 4 and realize, oh, you know what, this one can be condensed, or is this like a really important thing that I do? If you do really think it's there, then keep it. And again, it's just suggestions that I was given and that I followed for mine. And it helped me with making more room, because I felt like I had a lot more to put on my resume too. And it's hard to keep it to 1 page. But they do that for a reason. So they want you to highlight the things that I think are more important than, I did this one volunteering for a day kind of thing. You want something that's, I think that was really substantial in, making you who you are, and the student and the applicant that you are. So, but again, you can edit that too and send it to me, and I can help you with that as well. I think with resumes, they can be tricky. And when you go online too, I think going online looking to how to write resumes always can be daunting because there's always so many different ways people have to write resumes. So I always just stick to what, you know, what our field wants and what they told me, and not kind of look at what online people say, because it's always very different for each field. Like we've noticed, like I know, like with my boyfriend, he actually had some interviews a couple weeks ago, and he was printing his all out on like the thick resume paper. But then I've had employers tell me that they don't really care about the resume paper, or his has to be 2 pages, but then employers tell me, some of them want 2 pages and some are like, no, I only want 1 page. So there's I think a lot of it too is subjective, I guess.
Yeah.
I just stick to what the dietetics tells me or what they told me when I was in undergrad, because, or even now I work with RDs for my job too, and they tell me things too, and it's all very similar to what ISU taught us. I think ISU does a really good job with preparing us for our dicasts. And I think they give you pretty accurate information on how to write that. So, yeah. So again, if you look online and you might get a little overwhelmed by how to write a resume, and I know I did. Like I looked online, I'm like, well, they told me I needed to have a cover letter, or that I needed to have this, but dicasts or our applications might not necessarily need that. Again, we're kind of our own species, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, but again, you can edit it and whatever, and you can send it to me if you'd like, and I can help you with it. I think you have a really good foundation, and it already being done, for majority of it being done in December, I think is great. That will help you a lot, because you kind of got the most daunting part of it out of, or mostly done with, and then you can just focus on the online diecast application, which isn't that bad. It's just kind of time consuming.
Yeah.
So.
I need to get my transcripts from Hungary as well.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I just want to show them, that I have it.
I think you might need to. Yeah, if you put that on your resume, I think you have to show your transcripts from Hungary. Yeah. So that would be, I don't know how that works. I can't give you any advice on that, but I would say to figure that out sooner than later. Because I remember because I know for ISU you have to get your transcripts from there too, and I remember it took me like a couple of weeks for it to come in. So I was worried that it wasn't going to come in on time in February. So I definitely would recommend figuring out sooner than later if they can send it to you, whether it's be online. I will not send it to you. You have to give them the address, I think, and they send it to the diecast address that they're send it to. So that could be a little tricky, because I know there was just so many issues with it. But if I do remember correctly, if it's not in before February 15th, you're okay, as long as everything else is in, like your diecast information's all in there. Everything that you submit on your end is there, and then the transcripts a couple days late, I think it's okay, because you are. But don't quote me on that. But I've had people tell me that like their transcripts didn't come in yet, or it came in on February 16th, not the 15th. But it's okay because it wasn't on your end. You probably paid for it to be sent, weeks ago, and it just takes forever to send over. So.
Okay. Well, I will request it as soon as possible. So hopefully I don't have that problem.
Yeah. It can be a little nerve-wracking, but yeah, just definitely try and figure out sooner than later. I think will give you some peace of mind, just that it's kind of taken care of. But yes, I do remember. Yeah, you send it to diecast, so you don't see the transcripts, and then you have to set it up to at ISU, because technically you haven't graduated yet. You graduated in May. So when you graduate, I graduated in May too, so we'll actually be in the same ceremony, because the grad students, because I'm still in FCS too, and I know the grad students graduate with you guys, so we'll be in the same graduation.
Wow.
Yeah. But I forgot what I was going to say. I don't actually remember what I was going to say, but maybe I had to do a transcripts. Oh, but then you also got to send in your final transcripts when you graduate.
Yeah.
But I think ISU already automatically does that when you submit. I don't know. I think Julie might have done something like that, but she'll let you guys know whatever you guys need to do. But you just send that in too to prove that you actually graduated, because the transcripts they send aren't the final transcripts, because you haven't graduated yet. But yeah, but you'll be fine. I think they figure that out, and I think they make it pretty easy for you to send in the final transcripts, or I think ISU automatically does it. So
okay.
Yeah. Well, they're all really good questions. Is there anything else you have questions for?
Not yet.
Well, okay, yeah, of course. Well, again, if you do have any questions, you can email me, or we can set a time to talk again, and you can send in your updated ones if you'd like to. I'm happy to help. So.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks again for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you, and have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too.